Jelly's lips puckered to beat back a smile. Her flaring nostrils betrayed the strength of June Watermark, she said. She does violent things. She went out with Josh Berman, and whoever's in love with her should be in love with me instead. Who cares what June draws, said Nakamook. I don't care what she draws. I mean, say that, for instance, I was in love with you, Jelly, and Mangy started saying I shouldn't be because you bite people. It wouldn't matter to me. It wouldn't matter to me, because being in love with you would make it so I didn't care that you bite people, because you're really hot and you're funny, very funny, let's say, and then maybe I'd enjoy it when you bit me because I loved you so much that I couldn't even tell you about it directly, since if I did that and you said you didn't love me back, I would have to kill us both or something. Julie said, Are you in love with me, Benji? Benji wasn't even looking at her, though. He was squinting at me like he was measuring something. A kiss. I kept thinking, a kiss is just a kiss. What is a kiss? And who cares if she went out with Berman, Benji, said Benji. That kid is a dentist and he never laid a hand on her. How do you know? I said. He couldn't kiss a baby asleep in a cradle. He couldn't kiss his grandma. He couldn't kiss a lapdog. He never kissed anyone, Benji said. How do you know? I said. I can tell if someone's never been kissed. How can you tell? It's a talent, said Benji. You can't tell, I said. You've never been kissed. Jelly's never been kissed. Levon's been kissed. Main Man hasn't. You're guessing, Jelly said. Am I wrong? Benji said. He's just guessing, she said. He at least wasn't wrong about me or Jelly. Benji said, listen, Gurian, listen. Main Man interrupted, listen to me. You've fallen in love with the girl of all girls, the queen of queens, the one who will mother the most righteous sons of you. Hers is the all-American ponytail of all-American ponytails. I am walking on air for you. I am singing in the rain. Benji, said Jelly. Gurion, said Nakamook. And what does love feel like? Scott went on. Does it feel like the sound of cantaloupe smashing beneath fleshy hammers? It does indeed feel like melons exploding. Have you warmed her by the balustrade near the ornamental parapets? Embraced her in the sandstorms of the Negev and the Sinai? Wherefore art thou, Gurian Maccabee? Will you leave us all behind for this lovely tomato? Will you be a shaved Samson in the nosebleed seats, watching from the bleachers while all of our keisters get handed to us, read by basketball and perverts and robots and tall people, your ass's jawbone long gone and unswinging? Must she dull your ferocity? Can't you be a lover and a fighter, Gurian? Can't you be righteous and also be awesome? Can't you even remember the justice love needs for protection? Please, Mucus said. I said, I'll still bring the justice. So said Jesus, said Scott Mucus. Nakamook said, Jesus never fell in love, Scott, but Gurian, listen. I learned a new action last night. Jelly said, please don't do eyelid flaps. Don't ruin lunch. Nakamook said, it's not eyelid flaps. This kills eyelid flaps. I'll never do eyelid flaps again. He said, watch. Then Nakamook raised his shoulder tops up to the top of his neck, and his head started shaking in this tight, twitchy way, like a wire getting boinged. A couple seconds later, the breath of his nose was hissing, and his face was completely red, and his eyes were wet. He said, you see? Do you see? And when he said it, the voice was coming out the top of his throat, Grover style, like it was grinding against itself. Scott said, ha, ha, ha. Levon was sitting on the other side of me. I'd forgotten he was there until he poked my elbow. Then he did the same action as Nakamook did, and he did even better, so the water on his eyes dripped down his cheeks, and his cheeks looked loose. Then Main Man did the action. Then Jelly did it. Then I tried to do it, but couldn't. Nakamook stopped for a minute, and when he stopped, breath came out of his mouth in one heavy push. He said, it's called I'm ticking. I said, why? He said, because when you do it, you can hear that ticking inside your head. I think it's from the drops of brain blood that whack themselves against the backs of the eardrums. Didn't you hear the blood ticking? I said, don't be a wang to me because I can't do it. You know I didn't hear any ticking of blood. He said, I wasn't being a wang, you spastic wang. I didn't know because I couldn't see. When you do the I'm ticking action, it's hard to see. There's a bright flying saucer shape that blots out the middle of everything you look at. I said, tell me how you did it. Nakamuk said, I can't explain it, I just did it. I said, tell me how you discovered it. He said, I was in my room and I was bored, and I wanted to break something. But there was nothing good to break except the window, and I didn't want to break the window. So I beat on the heavy bag, but it wasn't good enough. I didn't want to hear thuds, let alone gaspy thuds. I wanted a breaking sound, a snapping kind of crunching sound, a shattering window sound. The one sound I couldn't hear without doing something I didn't want to do. And that's when I decided to invent a new action. And I performed my first I'm ticking. I said, come on, how did you do it? I said to Jelly, how do you do it? She said, I just did it. Then Levon did it again. Main Man said, Levon is I'm ticking-ing, and he doesn't talk. Jelly can I'm ticking, and she is bitter. Benji I'm tickings, and he is maybe psychopathic. Even I can I'm ticking, and I'm diseased in a very rare fashion. What's wrong with you? I don't know, I said. Muka said, watch me like a vulture watches a fat mammal that is limping across the floor of a rocky canyon with its tongue out, even though I'm your friend who you would never eat. Main Man performed the action again, and I watched him closely. After a few seconds, I got scared for him because of his heart. I said, stop, Scott. He stopped. His breathing was very heavy. This was called hyperventilating. It was also called catching your breath. It did not look like Main Man was catching his breath, though. Looked like Main Man's breath was catching him. Looked like Main Man was getting breathed. I told Benji, you shouldn't have shown that to Main Man. Scott said to me, please, don't worry. I said to him, don't I'm ticking again. Nakamuk said, Main Man's fine, you're just pissed you couldn't do the action, you baby. It is true I was pissed, but I wasn't just pissed. I was desperately trying not to think about kissing. Main Man said, ha 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 ha. I told him, yeah. The end of lunch tone got born and died. Go to your carols, both us said. He was standing by the doorway, clipboard and claw. As I was getting up from the teacher cluster, Renrico Asparagus and Jenny Mangy entered the cage and rushed me so fast I flinched. We have questions, said Mangy. The two of them came across the room with me, and when I turned my head to look at Benji, he made a crumple face, meaning, why is Asparagus walking beside you as though he were other than a longtime foe of ours? At the carol I sat, and Mangy handed me a piece of paper that looked like, we damage, we damage, we. Which one is right, Mangy said. I stared at the words, trying to understand. Mangy leaned in close. He was bright pink along the hairline from scratching. Renrico leaned in, too, not smelling like pee. If his pee was as pungent as it was said to be, then he did not get any on his pants, which was a blessing. I had never peed beside him, and so I did not know the true strength of his pee smell. The Renrico Asparagus has pee so pungent, saying was invented before I got to Aptekisik. Most people said Nakamuk invented it, but Nakamuk said it was the janitor. I thought it was Nakamuk. It was just the kind of pithy saying Benji would have invented. And he was the kind of person who would have given credit to someone else for it. If giving credit to someone else would have made it funnier, which it definitely would have, since the janitor was Ronrico's closest friend, and his being the inventor would not only be very Kaufman. The only thing more Kaufman than to sniff a friend's pee was to sniff a friend's pee and then speak of what you sniffed. But what would augment the saying with a subplot of betrayal? Which one? Mangy said. Ronrico said, it's one of the first two. I know it. Mangy whispered. Ronrico was bombing the lunch tables and the bleachers with the first two. And he thought he was so smart. But I told him he was not so smart and that he should write we on both sides of damage. Ronrico said, you didn't say which side of damage we were on, Gurian. But you did say we were on the side of it, not the sides of it. You said the side. Oh. At the end of the group, you mean? I said. Yeah, Mangy said. What do you think we mean? Jeez. The janitor came over and he leaned in. There was 3 people leaning in close to me. I thought, now, this is a huddle. I thought, don't touch my head. Ronrico said, back off a little, Mikey. The janitor said, I have a question about the side of the damage, though I'm not sure exactly what it means. Ronrico said, none of us are. And if you don't stop breathing on me, I'll touch you on the skin. The janitor leaned close to Mangy. I'll lick you on the cheek, Mangy said. The janitor stepped back and Vincey Portite came into the huddle. He said to me, what the fuck is going on here? What are these people standing here at your corral? Are we friends with these people now? I thought we weren't friends with these people, except for Mangy, who we were kind of friends with. Now we're all fucking friends? Why don't you just go ahead and stare at June Watermark, Vincey, you stalker, said Mangy. Wait, I said, wait. June's the girl you have a crush on? Nope, said Vince. Why'd Mangy say it then? What'd you say it, Mangy? He stares at her at lunch. I don't. I stare at someone else. She sits near June a lot. I'm in love with June, Vincey. Really? Does she love you back? I hope so, man. I'm not even in love. I don't think. Just in a very deep, like, it's really fucking lonely not to be deeply liked back. I can't imagine now. Not to be very deeply liked back by who? I said. I'm not saying, said Vincey. I don't want to fucking say. But you know, I tell you if it was June because you said you just said you loved her. That would be a big fucking problem if she was my crush, so I'd tell you. Mangy said, but Mangy's a fucking troublemaker. Listen to me, I told you I've liked this girl since kindergarten, right? 1,000,000 times, I said. And June didn't go to school with me in kindergarten, did she, Mangy? You went to school with me in kindergarten, so you would know. Was June in fucking kindergarten with us? No, Mangy said. It's true she wasn't. See, said Vincey. All is well except for how the girl I deeply like does not like me deeply back. I banged fists with Vincey, all kinds of relieved. Sorry, I said. No problem, man. But what I was saying is, he said, chinning air with Ronrico and the janitor, who were making kiss faces at him. Are we friends with these 2 knuckleheads now, or what? We're all on the side of damage, I said. So we're all friends, or what, though? Vincey said. I thought we were friends now, Ronrico said to Vincey. He said to me, Vincey tried to say at recess that you didn't mean we were friends, and I told him he was wrong. Just like how I told Mangy she was wrong about the bombs on the tables and the bleachers. I said to Ronrico that he was a fuckface, said Mangy, because when you said we're on the side of damage, you didn't mean that we were to the side of damage. You meant that damage is on one side, which is the side we are for. And then something else is on the other side, which is the side we are against. And then, said Ronrico, I told her that it was not me who was the fuckface, since it was her mom who was the fuckface, because of how we had already decided in group that it was her mom who's the one who fucks like a fucker, and Gurian would not have said, we are all on the same side of damage, and left it that way if there was this whole other something that we were against, like Mangy is saying. I told Mangy it was maybe her that was the fuckface because of genetics, that you would have told us what the something is. And I told her that it is true that I don't know if we were on the right side or the left side of damage, but I do know that it is one or the other. That is why I switched off sides with the bombs. I did 13, starting with the Wii's on the left. Now there are 7 Wii damage and 6 damage Wii's. Who's right, Mangy said. Bota said, in your seats. Those huddling around me pretended not to hear him. I spoke fast. I said, we are all against the arrangement, I said. Sometimes we are on the left side of damage and other times on the right. Often we are on both sides, so both of you are correct. So, I don't have to fix the bombs? Rodrigo said. I said, the bombs are good. Thank you, Rodrigo said. Tomorrow I'll scrape a huge Wii damage Wii into the 4-square court with a rock. I would have done it in a 4-square one today, but we had indoor recess. So I did the bleachers with a darker one instead. Oh, we forgot. Hey, said Bolta. Hey, back at you, said Vinci Portite, hand over eye. I didn't hear a tone yet. The scoreboard, Rodrigo said. Mangy said, it's smashed. Vinci said, he knows already. God, you don't listen to Vinci. Did you really know already, said the janitor. The beginning of class don't sound, and Bolta scattered the huddlers to their carols by shouting, mind the loin there. What he meant was my tape line.